All right, so we're still waiting for parts for the boards. So the thing that did come in, however, is our Playfield parts, right, from Pinball Life. What we have here is, what do we got? We got our new flipper bats, because the flipper bats here have seen better days, and they're just not coming clean. So we got nice new flipper bats. We have star posts. I don't need this many, but I always order extra. Say hi to the bunny. And we're doing some renovations and painting, as you can see, so don't mind that. Star posts here, the one in 1/16 and one in 1/32. We need both of them. So I'm going to clean up the existing ones. Anything that I can't clean or that's just way too cruddy. I still got a rubber on that one up there. I'm just going to replace. And I'm missing one over here. You can see the G plastic here. I couldn't find a replacement. So I just glued it together, and we're going to do the best we can with it. I could always keep an eye out. That's very easy to replace when the game's back together. And set of white silicone rubbers. I got green flipper rubbers. I think the green's going to look nice, you know, with the game, right? Like green pool table felt. I think that'll look good. And I got silicone. I didn't get like a kit specific to 8-Ball Champ. A lot of times when you do that, you wind up overpaying for just a little bit of rubber. For example, one rubber kit, and there's not a ton of rubber on this game, by the way, too. A lot of games have a lot more. There really isn't a whole lot that you need for 8-Ball Champ. And the kits I saw were regular rubber for like 35 bucks. At Pinball Life, I got a whole 125-piece silicone rubber kit for 35 bucks. So, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. Not to mention, if you're going to keep doing this like I'm going to do it, if you're got stuff left over, you know, it pays to always have these around to replace rubber or to do another game. So that's the direction we're going to go. The only little things I really got to do something about, this is already waxed. I don't think I mentioned it. Took everything off, vacuumed it. All right. We naphthed everything to get all the old wax off. All right. It's one of the first things we want to do is naphtha. You know, that's going to cut down on all the wax and everything. All right, we got interrupted there for a minute, but we're back. So where did I leave off? So yeah, we naphthed it, get all the existing wax and whatever schmegma off here, right? After we naphthed it, we followed up with some Novus 2 and just got some of the heavier. Novus 2 is a light abrasive, so you got to be careful. You don't want to really scrub it with Novus 2. Especially older Playfields that don't have the protection that newer ones do. But we got some Novus 2, and that we buffed out the Novus 2 after it dried, and that gave us our shine back and our smoothness back. Before, this Playfield felt very rough, kind of like an unwaxed car, right? You ever drag your hand across a car's paint job that hasn't been waxed, and your finger kind of catches on it, so to speak, right? After we did the Novus, it was nice and smooth, right? It glided, much better. And then we followed it up with some wax. I like this stuff, P21S. If you look about, you know, on websites and forums and Pinside, you know, no one's ever going to agree. It's like Coke or Pepsi. No one's ever going to agree which one's better, right? Some people like this one, some people like that one. My only recommendation is whatever you use, find one that doesn't leave white powdery residue all over the place. This one doesn't. Another one is Colonite 845, I think it is, insulator wax. I've used that before with good results. Never tried the Blitz. I've only ever used this or Colonite, and both of them come out good. Colonite is a liquid wax. That one obviously is a paste wax. They both do great. I think most of my machines I've used Colonite on, and it's come out okay. So anyway, that's what we did. Obviously, after we stripped it all, we did all that treatment, we buffed it out, and now it's good. And we did just a nice little dusting after that, because this was done a week ago, and of course dust collects, right? It's in a house, around animals and people. Dusted it off nice. Another thing we did too that I wanted to mention, right, is the 6803 series, or family of pinball machines. they used particle board, right? Like an arcade cabinet. Like these guys over here, right? So we all know what T-molding looks like. And it's, you know, when these arcade cabinets, when they had the rough corner, they would route them out in the middle. And they put T-molding in. Right? And the T-molding makes it look nicer, of course, but it also prevents you catching your hands, right, on these rough edges. Give you splinters, give you cuts, see? And that's what they did. This one's obviously much nicer than this one. This is original. This is my HUO Miss Pac-Man. Ooh, very nice. So that's what they had on these heads. And the original T-molding, as you saw, was cracked and ripped. We put new T-molding on. You can get it from tmolding.com. That's where I get mine. I think it was $12 shipped for 20 feet of the 3/4 inch leather texture one, which is what was on here. And something to remember, if you haven't done T-molding a lot, I did a bunch of arcade games and fixed up a bunch of arcade games before I ever got into pinball, so I was pretty versed with the T-molding. What you want to do is... Sorry, I had to cut away for a minute. What you want to do is, when you look at T-molding, you'll notice it has... I don't think I have a piece of it here. I don't. When you look at T-molding, it has like, it looks like a T, right? You have the molding, and then you have a fin that comes down in the middle. That's why it's called T-molding, because it looks like a T. When you go around corners, if you try to bend that T-molding with the fin in the middle still on, it does all kinds of weird things, and it doesn't let you bend it. So when you have corners like this, outside corners, what you want to do is you want to clip that fin off about 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch before and after the curve, right? And that is going to let your T-molding lay smooth on the corner. You see that? Now it's right around that corner. There's no fin here, right? Because the fin usually goes into the routing channel, right? The channel that gets routed into the edge. But the fin's here, right? It's stuck in here and it's stuck all the way down there. And we pull it tight, and that keeps it looking tight, and that keeps it nice and firm around that corner. And as far as installing this stuff, if you've never done it before, start one end. Obviously, you want to make it flush at the back. Bring it around. You know, cut your fin off to your corners, and then you want to just take a mallet, like a nice little light mallet. Let's not trip over the cord. This is what I use right here. No, I'm not using Fantastic on the game. Don't worry. I actually use this to close paint cans too. You want to take your mallet as you're going around, and you want to, you're going to tap it in. Rubber mallet, don't use metal. Tap it in as you go. A little bit harder than that if you have to. And the goal is to get it to, firmly plant in that channel there. You see people trying to do this and bang it and push it. It's not going to work. You're going to get frustrated. Get it lined up, and then just give it some taps all the way down. I usually take my right hand, and I'll hold the molding down here, and with my other hand, I'll tap it in as I go down, and I'll center the molding with my right hand and tap it with my left hand, and it does a great job. See, another place we had to cut the fin. You can see this probably got a little bit of water and swelled a tiny bit. Tapped it in around there. All right, and that's why you do T-molding. I wish I would have actually waited to do that, and I would have showed you. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to get to the Playfield. I turned it on before. You can see there's bulbs missing. And these bulbs are part of the GI, General Illumination. They weren't lighting up. So these sockets, these green ones, whenever you see these green ones, you know you're in for a fun time. Because I think what Bally did was, when they made these and used these sockets, they literally said, hey, what's the absolute cheapest piece of crap socket we could possibly buy? And they bought these dreaded 555 green ones. Nothing but a problem. You can make them a little bit better. I don't know if you could see it. If you go in there, maybe in the light here, all right. You see there's prongs, right? There's a little V. There's two little V's on either side. You could take a little flat blade screwdriver with the game off, right? And you can bend those little V's together, right? They're sitting there like this. You could bend them closer, And that usually will make them a little more reliable and make them work if they're not working. Usually, not always. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'm going to try to bend them in a little bit to see if I can get them to light up. I believe these weren't up on either. I think these and these, they look like GI. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're computer controlled. They look like they should be general illumination. I don't know, so I'm going to have to go play with those too. And then one here. This guy here, you see this bulb sitting in here. The socket's loose. And then this guy here, this is the credit light, so that's not going to be on for us. But so yeah, I have some sockets to figure out before I go put all the plastics on. Obviously, it's easier to figure out your socket problems and see if your bulbs work before you put your plastics on, especially if you have a game like a lot of System 11s and WPCs where like they stack plastic after plastic after plastic and then a ramp on top, and you have a bulb all the way down here, and it's very, very frustrating to put everything back together only to figure out that you know your bulb is out 4 layers deep and all your screws are already in, and yeah, that's no fun. Don't do that. So I'm going to go try to figure out my lights, and then I'll bring you back as I start to repopulate this with my rubber rings. The other thing we got to see is this has somebody somehow broke a metal post off into here. I don't think there's a T-nut on the end of that. I think that was a wood screw bottom to it. So I don't know if I'm going to really dig in here and get that broken part out, or if I'm just going to relocate it a little bit in front, which it looks like someone else already did, because we don't want to start gouging into our playfield. That just can cause other issues and, mess with wires down there. So, but we'll see what we're going to do with that. All right, let me go try to figure out my light bulb issues, and I'll come back to you. All right, so we've come down here. I was able to work with some of the sockets, not so much with others. I have one that's not cooperating. This guy right here. This whole line over here. These are all 6 volts. And I want to say it's this one over here. Right there. So at this point, I've already checked voltages. There's voltage getting all these sockets. One lead goes on one side, one lead goes on the other side. Boom, boom, black and red, And if you get somewhere around 6 volts, you're getting voltage there. So if it's not lighting up, that's either your bulb or your socket. And what I'll do is I'll take a known good bulb, stick it in there, mess around with it, clean the socket. I burnish the socket with my little burnisher right there. Some of the contacts, that brought a couple of them back, good as new. But for the other ones, it's just not, it's not in the cards. We're not looking good. So I need about 6 new sockets. I'll buy 10. I just got to get those. Unfortunately, I did not order those, and I ordered my other parts, which is probably kind of silly of me. But again, I'm not trying to spend $1 million on this game. While we're in here, though, I've decided that I'm going to go through the bulbs and take a look around at my inserts. And there's a few things we're looking for here. Number one, what we're looking for is we're not even looking for anything. We're just going to clean our inserts. A lot of people complain. They say, my inserts look so dull. It must be the bulb, and they replace the bulb, and the insert still doesn't look better. You got to clean the insert. And the best thing to do that I've found is you get some isopropyl alcohol right there. Get a Q-tip. Right, this is a little pump bottle. It makes a little puddle in the top. It's very handy. Do this, roll your Q-tip in it, and then come in here and clean it out. This one I already did, but if we go to one that I haven't done, like, sometimes I'll get carried away and I'll start working and I'll be like, oh crap, I gotta film this. Let's do this one here. Right? We take our Q-tip, we get in there. Ooh, there you go. See? Sorry, I keep putting my finger in front of it. That's the kind of stuff right there that's making your insert look dull. That, and your bulb too. Well, the bulb lights up, right? Just because it lights up doesn't mean anything. If we take this bulb out, look at this. Look at that. See that? See how it's got that dirt on top? So what happens is when these get dirty or get hot, they start to get this like chrome dome on it. And the more chrome dome they get, the hotter they get. And the hotter they get, the more chrome dome they get. I took one out before and I was testing the bulbs. I think I had this thing on for 2 minutes and I found one that the whole top was chrome domed. It's not really chrome, it's just kind of what I call it. And it was hot, like almost like I couldn't touch it. That's how hot it was. And that's the kind of heat you're putting on a piece of plastic under your playfield. So you don't want that. And again, I'm not using LEDs. We're just going to go old school with this. We're going to use 555s, which are the worst bulbs in the world. I hate these freaking things. So we want to put a new bulb in there. We'll go over to our box of 555s. We'll get one. And then, where'd we go? Here we are. No, is that us? Yes, it is. And then we'll do our best to get this guy in here. Now, a couple things. Number one, these sockets are, for the most part, meant to be bent back. I'm surprised I did that one-handed. When changing bulbs, all right? A few things to note, though. Number one, when you're bending them back, anything here, any light socket with a diode on it, it's a computer-controlled light. Okay, that's ones that the MPU is controlling and switching them on and off, right? When you're going through these, number one, check your diode, make sure it's okay. You could use almost any crappy little diode if one of these is broken. Just don't look at it, too, right? Not to get too much on a tangent, but when you're checking wires on Pinball, don't just go like, for instance, up here, right? Don't go, it looks good, because the problem is, if we actually move things, we'll notice that this guy is not connected, right? We saw that before. But the problem is these wires have been in such a position so long that they tend to have a memory, and even if this one was broken off here, it'll just kind of hang there, like right next to the terminal, but not be touching it. So you look at it like, it looks good. So what I do is I always just go and I'll gently tap our connections to see if anything moves, all right? So that's number one. When you're going through these sockets, tap your connections a little bit. If it's a computer-controlled light and it's got a diode, make sure the diode's attached. Make sure you're attached here. See, I'll just gently tap it, right? Clean your insert, check your bulb to make sure it's not chrome domed. This is a new one that I put in, then bend it back. Make sure you do one at a time, you bend it back. The last thing you want to do, and 6803s for some reason are extremely more susceptible to this than others, is you can see how close some of these lamp sockets are to these switches. And if you get switch voltage down a lamp socket, it might not be the end of the world, but you get coil voltage down a lamp socket or coil voltage down a switch circuit, you're gonna have problems. That's a lot more than 5 or 6 volts. It's gonna be bad. Don't do that. So as you bend them, do one at a time. Bend it out. Check our connections. Clean our insert. Check our bulb. If our bulb is okay, we'll leave it. Right. If our bulb is not okay, we'll swap it out. All the bulbs right now on the bottom work. I did that before. But I'm just going through to see which ones are old, which ones are dirty, a little chrome domed. That one seems to be okay. You know, like we got one over here. He seems all right. Well, we still got to clean the inserts, but I'm just trying to find you an example of a chrome domed bulb. It's hard to tell through the camera lens too. Camera lens? Who am I kidding? It's an iPhone, right? Yeah. So those look pretty good. You know, and as you can see, like some of these socket wires, like this is like on by a thread here. So you got to check those. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go through and Q-tip our inserts, check our bulbs, make sure we look okay. So I got one bent back here that I haven't fixed yet. I think this is the one I bent back when I remember to start filming. So we're going to do all this down here, and then we're going to order sockets. We could actually still go through at the top of the playfield, putting that back together, because any bulbs that are in bad sockets that we have to replace, like over here, or over here rather, we could just stick the bulb in a socket before we stick it back onto the playfield, even if the plastic's on there. All right, and we'll also get a stapler and secure some of these. Some of these are loose, they're falling out. It's very annoying when you're trying to push a bulb in from the top and it's coming out the bottom. So we'll fix that. Yeah. All right, so So I will get back to insert cleaning, and then maybe I'll turn it on and I'll show you all the nice pretty clean inserts and nice bright bulbs. Okay, so after about a few hours of work, we got a decent amount done. Oh, pardon me. So we put our apron, our ball arch back on, as you can see. Got our coil and everything hooked up, and we'll go from top to bottom. So number one, we're gonna need new sockets. That guy broke off as we were bending to replace it. It looks like it was already soldered on there, it was already weak. So we're gonna replace him, and we're gonna replace a bunch of other 555 sockets. That's what these are called. The wedge sockets are also called 555 sockets. We're gonna replace a bunch of them that need to go. I think I have these in stock. So that one's easy to replace. I actually just remembered I had those. But a lot of these, like these green ones here, I have about 6 of them that just aren't working. We tried to burnish them. We tried to squeeze the contacts together. It's just not working out. So we're going to order some of those and replace them, because at that point, it just pays to replace them. They're 75 cents each, maybe. We can swing that. What else do we have? We had a bed loose, not so much bed, but a loose diode on this one right there. You could see we soldered the diode on there. As I was bending it, it was going out, going on and off, until I figured out that that diode was loose. So we soldered a diode on there, and that works nice now. We soldered our coil wires, our flipper coil wires back. Somebody had previously taped them on, one to the end of stroke switch and the other one to the middle lug on that coil. So we got those squared away. What else do we do? Somebody had tied the yellow wire over there onto that lug. So we cleaned it up a little bit and soldered it back on. It had a bunch of solder and goop on there. So we did the best we could, but it is now secure. So we got that done and secure. And then we went and we cleaned out all our inserts and replaced a bunch of bulbs. I'm trying to do this again, not on the cheap, but not spending a ton of money. So any bulbs that worked and didn't look like they were all that dirty or chrome domed, I just left. And you know, except for the sockets that are broken, everything seems to work. I gotta bend some of these guys back up. Don't mind me. There we go. Pardon my camera work. So I still got my little soldering sponge in there, my alcohol, my Q-tips. We'll leave that in there for now, and we'll get this guy back down. Oh boy. All right, closing the Playfield though. I think I lost you. But as you can see, besides the sockets we have to replace, we're good to go. So I'm going to put in an order for sockets, and I think that's all we really need. Oh, and shooter tips. My rubber kit didn't come with a shooter tip. I think I might have one lying around, but I was surprised by that. I thought it was supposed to come with shooter tips. So I'm going to put in a socket order, and so we can get that done. We're going to replace the flipper bats, and I think for this weekend, that's pretty much all we could do. I still need my dual wipe sockets for my squawk and talk board. And that's a whole nother thing. I filmed part of that. We'll see that later. Basically, we had a little problem with the TMS chip, but we'll talk about that once we go over the squawk and talk board, because that needed some work. It was working, but it was kind of hanging on by a thread. So that's enough for now, and we'll be back with some squawk and talk work very soon.